Hello, welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz.
It's good to be here. It's also,
It's hump day.
It is, it's hump day. It's something of note, too. We named this show for a reason, because we are not apologetic about what we say on here. We just don't apologize for any of the facts that we spew, because we have some opinion, but mostly facts.
If I burp, I will apologize.
Okay, good to know.
Okay, so we got an interesting show. Dustin Gawrylow is going to be coming up next segment. We're going to be talking about a lot of good stuff going on in the legislature. We've got brain food. We've got an interesting segment about Democrats in the final. But to start off with, I want to go over just a little bit, again, what's happening in the legislature. So today, there were a couple of bills that I testified on to the Senate. I think we've talked about them. One of them I know we just talked about last night, House Concurrent Resolution 3040.
Right, 3040.
That's where if the Senate passes it, it will go on and will go on to the ballot in November 2022 and go to a vote of the people. If the people pass it, what that means then is that the legislature cannot institute any tax increases or any new taxes unless there's a 2/3 vote. And so that was heard. I don't have much to report. I was hoping that they were going to vote on it, but we'll see what happens.
Was it well received? Did you?
I couldn't tell.
You could, really?
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting.
I could not tell.
Do you suppose it's just the Senate's way to be stoic, or?
I don't know about that. Okay. But there was another one, interesting. It was Luke Simon's bill, 1272. So that one, and remind me, Laura, if we talked about it, this is the one where if you manufacture a gun, okay, produce a gun in the state of North Dakota, sell the gun, buy the gun, use the gun all within the state of North Dakota, the federal government should not have any say.
Right.
And it's in Article 1 in the Constitution is the Interstate Commerce Clause. Right. And they use that to say everything is commerce, and it's ridiculous. It goes back to, I mean, the most egregious and beginning of this great expansion was during the time of FDR, when he had price controls, and there was you were limited on what you could raise for produce. And there was a farmer who grew wheat and then used it for his own livestock. The amount of wheat he grew exceeded the amount that the president said he could grow.
Wow.
And therefore he was arrested, yada yada. But and the Supreme Court did actually say, yeah, that's interstate commerce, because that wheat that you grew, in theory, you took that away from what could have been on the national market, and so it affects it.
Wow,
it's crazy.
That is crazy.
So that one was heard. There's a lot of opposition to it,
really?
Unfortunately. Yep.
What was the argument?
Well, the argument is that it's going to cause expensive lawsuits, this and that, and it's not with the state. The state, it's very similar to, say, medical marijuana. The state said, sure, it's legal, but it wasn't legal federally.
Right.
But the thing is, it provides that sort of barrier, or that acknowledgement that the state is sovereign, that we respect the 9th and 10th Amendments, and it would be up to the individual. So, for instance, when the Biden administration passes all these restrictive gun laws, and you can't go buy an AR-15, you could at least perhaps manufacture one yourself, produce one yourself, right. Maybe sell it to a friend. And that this would say that that's the case, that it's not illegal. Could the federal marshals come in? They could. But the argument that it would put in the state into expensive lawsuits is not the case. It would be whoever would be going against the federal law.
That seems like a very common argument when you don't really have anything, to me. Just saying. I've heard that argument a few times before.
It is, and it works.
And it works.
Yeah, because
the threat of that
people
litigation.
do not want to be in expensive, unnecessary lawsuits. And so, unfortunately, because it works, it gets overused. And in this case, I don't think it applies.
Okay.
Let's pull up a graphic. We have House Concurrent Resolution 3043. It's going to be heard tomorrow. This is one that I have, I put in kind of last minute. And what this says is that the legislative management will study how much space the state government is leasing all across the state, primarily in Bismarck. And what's the occupancy rate, what are the lease rates, looking for efficiencies.
Right.
But the other thing that it says there is that the study should also include whether it's appropriate for state agency directors and so on to be involved in any type of activity where they would own property that is leased out to the agency that they're involved with.
Right.
I mean, that would seem
Total
obvious.
conflict of interest.
And then the last thing is whether a legislator should be prohibited from voting on an appropriation bill for any agencies that lease property from that legislator.
That's fair.
I think that is very common sense.
It is common
very
sense.
common sense. But
Pushback, just a guess?
well, maybe only from the Bismarck legislators that own property that are leasing.
You really?
Yep.
That's so shocking and surprising.
Yeah, they actually, when I brought it to committee, the committee was so much in favor of it that they actually made it stronger, made it retroactive as far as looking in the past to see who
my.
owns what.
Interesting.
They really, so apparently there's a lot of interest in this. It just took someone to start the ball rolling, I
Good for
guess.
you.
But I mean, it's not trying to call anybody out. It's
Right.
just saying, look, this would seem to be a conflict of interest. Let's take a look on whether we should continue with that.
Precisely.
All right, the next one is a weird one
Yeah,
for me.
I
Okay,
saw
pull
that.
up this graphic. Have you heard of Juneteenth?
I have heard of Juneteenth.
Yeah. So we have
It,
we have a bill which would commemorate the ending of slavery in the United States. The 19th of June of each year is designated and established as Juneteenth for the state of North Dakota.
I have heard that it is growing in popularity as people think it's politically correct to
Right.
observe it. So
Well, see, that's why I don't like it,
Right.
because it's for political correctness.
Exactly.
There are only 3 states that don't observe it: North Dakota, South Dakota, Hawaii. Okay, so here's why I don't like it. Now, of course, the reason that will be proposed for why I don't like it is
Yep.
because I'm racist,
of course,
because I love slavery.
I could totally see that coming.
But here's why I don't like it. Because number one, it's the leftists and their politically correct agenda that is driving this, and I resist all of that.
Yeah, I don't really go well into people shaming me into doing things that have no good reason.
And here's the other thing. They're picking that. What? President Lincoln gave the Emancipation Proclamation on September 22nd, 1862.
So why would they not use
That would be good.
That would be a logical date.
The Emancipation Proclamation went into effect on January 1st, 1863.
That would be another good day
That
to
would be a
celebrate
great
it.
date. The 13th Amendment, abolishing slavery, went into effect on January 31st, 1865.
That would be an even better one. That would probably be the best one.
I think that would be a great one.
I agree.
I'd vote for that. I'm fine with that.
However-
Juneteenth is just, there was this Texas general, because there was still some skirmishing by the Confederacy in Texas, and then he beat them, and they finally gave up. And then a few days later, he said, "Hey, slavery's over in Texas on June 19th." And then, so I don't care
Very
about Texas.
arbitrary.
I don't care about Texas.
Right.
Here's the final thing: Juneteenth. Juneteenth.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It is. It is. It's like Brangelina.
Juneteenth.
Like, seriously.
I don't want, and it's going to pass. It's going to pass because people are worried. Oh, how is North Dakota
what if
going to
we're
look?
not on
We're
board?
only one of 3 states that didn't pass it. We're so backwards. Who cares what other people
You know
think
what? I totally
about
agree
North
with
Dakota?
You. I totally agree with you 100%.
I hate it. I hate Juneteenth, and I hate being put in a position where I love slavery if I'm not in favor of Juneteenth. You guys can go suck an egg. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I don't like getting bullied into things like that just because
Juneteenth.
everybody else is doing it. You remember when you were a kid and your mom said, "Well, if everybody else jumped off a cliff, would you jump on?" Yeah, I don't think that's a nice thing to do. Bully people into making them do things.
Yeah.
That's me.
All right. Well, very good. So that's my little
That's a good update. That's pretty
a little
good.
bit of a slight rant in there, but so next up we are going to have Dustin Gawrylow, and we're going to be talking about a couple of interesting things that are like sailing through the legislature, but maybe they shouldn't. Stick with us. We'll be talking all about it.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with 1 truck and lots of hard work. Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
40 years ago, Arrow Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
Hey Bucks fans, if you're planning an outing, birthday, or employee appreciation night, then bring your group out to the Buck Stop for a night of fast-paced, high-scoring football. Your group will receive discounted tickets, options for reserved seating, scoreboard messages, VIP services, swag, and a space to gather during the game. You can also participate in pre-game ceremonies, halftime entertainment, in-game contests, and more. Call 701-595-0771 or visit bismarckbucks.com/tickets. All GA is first come, first serve. We'll see you on the turf. Go Bucks!
All right, we're back. It's No Apologies on Beck, and we are with Dustin Gawrylow, the Managing Director of the North Dakota Watchdog Network. Dustin, thank you for being on.
Absolutely.
Much appreciated.
Been wondering how long I'd be taking. There's actually a pool going on, who would get me first, you or Joel.
Is that right?
Yeah. Our friend Whiskey in his bunker has been taking bets for a few months.
We win.
So who wins?
You won. You won.
So who won?
I don't know who wins
bet?
the money. He's the one keeping books.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my. Well, I hope that all the betting is less than $25 and we're staying within.
Oh, we're well
limits.
within legal limits,
Okay.
I believe. But you know.
Dustin Gawrylow, Managing Director of the North Dakota Watchdog Network, here with us today. So yeah, we've been looking forward to having you on. We've got a pretty interesting topic today too, I would have to say.
So there's been there's a couple of bills, and I frankly didn't realize they came through the House and passed already. I believe I voted no on both of them. I certainly hope so.
You actually voted yes on 1412, but I believe that's because you thought it was a straight up tax cut.
Okay, well we're gonna be talking about and yeah, let's look at that on the next segment. But first we're talking 1452, 1380. On these two, I certainly would hope I voted no, or else I should be kicked out of office.
Uh-oh.
Let's cross our fingers.
Let's do that.
Yeah, the
Let's go
Liberals
back
are
and
really
look.
crossing the fingers.
You did vote no on both of them.
Okay,
I
good
can
to know.
assure you that you voted no on both of them. Now, the question is whether you voted no on both of them because you knew what it was really about, or because it was called the Clean Energy Sustainability Fund. 1452 would set up a fund called the Clean Energy Sustainability Fund and appropriate $40 million every 2 years initially, and then within House Bill 1380, there's another $40 million every 2 years going forward appropriated out of the Legacy Fund. And basically this is kind of a dog and pony show in my view. It's called the Clean Energy Sustainability Fund, but the ultimate goal is to basically make subsidies and bailouts more palatable for the coal industry, particularly. Right. We know that there's a lot of problems with that industry right now. Just today, Rob Port put out a report about Xcel Energy bragging that they're going to close down more coal plants sooner than they expected, and in their plan, in their corporate plan, they are planning to shut down, I believe, most, if not all, of their coal capacity by the year 2035, which falls in line with the Minnesota rules that we have to live by because we are an export state. We sell our electricity to Minnesota primarily, and as such, we are kind of beholden to their regulations. And we're finding out here that being a net exporter is not that much better than being a net importer when it comes to energy.
Interesting. Well, okay, I want to get a little bit more into the bill, but first I do want to ask, why can't we find a different customer? Why can't we send it up to Saskatchewan or Manitoba or to South Dakota or Wyoming, Montana?
Well, because Montana and Wyoming have their own surpluses of power. I believe South Dakota is about the same. I believe they get most of theirs from Wyoming, or Minnesota even. And Canada's got their own green energy rules. And then there's international issues where I don't know the particulars, but I think they can send it up in an emergency, but it's not an ongoing type of thing or something like that. But, you know, there is a lack of buyers because we have states that have created rules that say that they don't want their people using power from coal. And then we have the federal government, which is creating similar rules, creating policies that benefit green energy as far as wind and solar and that sort of thing. And then so you have all these bad policies outside of North Dakota. And it's hard to fight that. And from my view, House Bill 1458 and 1380 basically try to create an arms race between North Dakota and these other entities that have bad policies. And you can't beat bad policy with more bad policy.
I'm wondering about that $40 million. Is that in perpetuity? I mean, is that, you said going forward, and I went, oh.
As far as House Bill 1380, the way that it was passed out of the House, it is in perpetuity. It's a legacy fund stream.
Wow.
Now, they can change that at any time because it is in statute rather than in the Constitution, like the legacy fund itself. But overall, that I believe is just the starting point. 40 million is where the number starts, and then it's only going to go up from there.
Well, that was the concern. I mean, once you start there, it's not going to go down.
Let me pull up a few graphics. I made 3 graphics on 1452. Some of the high points that I saw in the bill. You asked, or you indicated you're not sure why I voted no. It creates an entity that has the authority to make recommendations for grant awards, loan approvals, financial assistance. Right. So right there, I'm like, okay, I'm not so so sure on this. And the purpose of all of that money is to support research, development, technological advancements for the large-scale development and commercialization of projects, processes, activities, and technologies that reduce environmental impacts. So just plain out, it's a subsidy. It's corporate welfare. I mean, it says it right there, and there's no doubt about it. So that's the one reason. Let's flip up another one for 1452. Again, it goes on about what all these loans and grants are for. Demonstration, research, development, commercialization, and as long as they reduce environmental impacts and use energy sources derived from within the state. So it's also very clever, because what they're doing is saying, well, geez, we don't have we don't have as much of these typical green energy things. So what we're going to do is expand the terminology and kind of change definitions so that we can use these types of grants so that we can be recognized by certain types of investors as wanting to do something in the way of sustainable clean energy, even though we might still be talking about coal and oil.
Yes, that's exactly what's going on. The folks on the environmental left call this greenwashing. It is the idea that, and it's a clever word.
It is.
And the idea is that, you know, by sequestering the coal or the CO2 from the coal plants, that somehow that's going to make the power more marketable. And the buyers that have an issue with the power coming from coal have an issue with the coal as much as they do with the CO2.
Right.
And so there's no guarantee that by dumping all this money into research and subsidizing a sequestration program, ultimately they want to pump it out into the oil fields for enhanced oil recovery. There's no guarantee that that speculative spending of taxpayer money is actually going to create a return and actually maintain an export market.
Yep. And that was the second reason of three why I voted against it, is that it jumps into this whole political correct aspect and pretends it's something that we're not. And I hate to play that game. It seems very squishy to me. I mean, just say it loud and proud, man. It's coal, it's oil. We've got tons of it, and you need it. But the third and final reason is this next graphic on 1452, the final on this bill, and that is that $40 million you're talking about. I look at that, I'm like, well, we don't even, it's just being transferred to a new fund called the Clean Sustainable Energy Fund. We don't even know what it's going to, but that's the way it's designed.
Right.
So there's that. All right, now let's go on to 1380. In our discussions, we're kind of combining them. They go together. This is the one that is talking about the ongoing $40 million. And there you see in number one, there is created in the state treasury the Legacy Earnings Fund. Okay, this is called Legacy Streams. And in this Legacy Earnings Fund, they dump a bunch of money in there, and then from there they direct it into different areas. And if you look at B, the second item, they call them buckets, right? When one bucket is filled, it moves to the next bucket. So after the first $100 million, which goes to a sinking and interest fund, then it goes, very next thing, $40 million to the Clean Sustainable Energy Fund. So this is where you're saying that it's going to be an ongoing thing until at some time somebody changes it.
Yeah, exactly. And from what I've heard, this idea of creating a CO2 pipeline that goes out to the oil fields, that's going to cost about $200 million. It's going to replicate something that we've fought over the years, which is the Western Area Water Supply, which is another state-owned socialist program that competes with private business, undercuts private business, and actually reduces state tax revenue, because instead of having private water sellers be taxed by the state, we are subsidizing the water and then essentially subsidizing fracking. It's my view that they ultimately want to replicate that model with CO2 and use it for enhanced oil recovery. The state may end up owning the pipeline system. But again, it's not only a subsidy for the coal industry, it then becomes also a subsidy for the oil industry if it works.
Right. Yep. And as always, what we're looking at is the folks that push this forward, I think, are well-intentioned. The problem is you can be well-intentioned and still be growing government and not properly utilizing taxpayer money and subsidizing and offering this corporate welfare for pet projects is exactly what we who love small government and liberty want to avoid. And it's just unfortunate that it's difficult, I think, for a lot of people, a lot of politicians, to see that something that sounds so good can still be so bad. Well, listen, Dustin, we are going to come right back, and we're going to be talking about apparently a bill I voted wrong on, according to you. So stick with us, folks.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
We're the ladies of Another View, bringing you a fresh view on local issues.
Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that the most condescending, rude email you've ever received?
Well, welcome to
National
the third
news.
term of a certain president. I really believe that.
And different perspectives you won't get on the mainstream media. Watch us weekday afternoons at 4:30 Central Time on Beck News and at beck.news.
40 years ago, Arrow Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to pull them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Alrighty, welcome back. It's No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I am your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz, and our guest, Dustin Gawrylow, who is the managing director of the North Dakota Watchdog Network. Now, I'm having an issue. I can't get into my VPN to get into the legislative, the deep state, to find out how I voted, because I'm not sure I voted the way we think that it was said I voted. Nevertheless, we are going to talk about House Bill 1412. We're going to pull up a graphic here. I've got no lifted text, but we can just take a quick peek at it. This is, in essence, I guess the way we're looking at it is a tax decrease on coal conversion and some things like that. So that's tell us about 1412. Your take on it.
So 1412 looks like a tax cut. It suspends 60% of the coal conversion tax for the next 5 years, and then says that if you are an entity that was subject to that coal conversion tax, you will now pay the Lignite Research Fund tax at a lower rate than the old coal conversion tax, and then that will be earmarked for the Lignite Research Fund. This is just another way of roundabout subsidizing the industry. It is a $35 million tax decrease, but then the second portion of it is roughly a $10 million earmark fee transfer from, basically we're cutting the general fund tax and replacing it with a partial special fund tax, which then gets kicked back to the industry. When any industry pays a tax that ends up getting kicked back to themselves for research or whatever, it's really not a tax anymore. It's just the government deciding that you're going to pay this and we're going to give it back to you. And so it's just kind of a kickback system. It's not the original intent of that particular tax or taxes in general. But there is this mentality by some that, if they paid in, then they should get the benefit, which would be nice for everybody else.
Right.
I'm sure every business would love that program.
Just thinking that.
between this $35 million tax decrease in 1412 and then the $40 million spending increase in 1452 ongoing, that's roughly $75 million. We could actually eliminate almost half of the corporate income tax for that price, which would be a much broader tax decrease, which would benefit the greater economy at a larger level and be just better tax policy overall.
But why would you do that when you can spend all that money?
Right. Well,
I'm sorry.
I guess we're in this era where Republican socialism is better than Democratic socialism, and that's just what we're going to go with nowadays.
Okay, I did vote yes on it.
Oh, he did. He does not look happy about that either.
Okay, well,
it happens.
I'm leaving. I'm no good. I'm no good to you people anymore. I'm just going to take this class.
Well, chances are there was probably something in the bill that caught your eye and you probably misinterpreted it. I mean, it happens all the time.
It looks like a tax cut on the surface.
I never, ever go for bailouts and subsidies, ever. So it's unfortunate that I maybe didn't have the full understanding with what you're saying. So this bill is currently in the Senate. The other two bills we talked about just got voted out of Senate committee back in the previous segment, 1452 and 1380. They were passed on a 6-1 and 7-0 vote. Now they go to appropriations. So there's still a chance that the folks in appropriations will recognize what a huge subsidy and corporate welfare type situation this is, and maybe give it a do not pass, but we'll see where that goes.
So are you saying that it might behoove people who think that they want their senators who are on appropriations to vote a certain way, they would maybe want to contact them?
Yep, it's absolutely true. If there's any hope at all to forestalling this, it would be that the appropriations senators are made aware that these two bills do go together, and it is 40 million, 40 million, 40 million, and there are other things we can do. We talked about wanting to do pension reform and help the future of North Dakota, your grandchildren's future. Giving companies $40 million to do their sustainable stuff is not the way to do it. Taking away a liability that your grandchildren have, taking that liability away, that is what you want your millions of dollars to go to.
So that is HB 1452 and HB 1380 appropriations.
That is correct. All right, so Dustin, we covered 1412, and the other bill then is 2291. Now this one's already done. This one's done. I think the governor signed it, either that or he's going to. It's a done deal. So tell us a little bit about 2291.
Well, 2291 got converted to a study, but the original version of it was designed to basically make it so that North Dakota could no longer place investments in investment firms and funds that use what's called ESG as a determination. Anybody who's watched CNBC or Fox Business or any of that hears those terms all the time. It stands for ethical, social, or environmental, social, and governance. And it's basically this non-fiscal criteria that companies get graded on as far as how socially conscious they are.
Oh, please.
And on its surface right there, that it's not something that we would agree with. However, the problem is, if you prevent the state from investing in companies that chase that, the state can't invest in anybody, because every company, even Exxon, is rated on its ESG, and they're trying to make it better.
Wow.
Every company is chasing this goalpost. And if you took North Dakota out of that ability, all we'd have would be federal bonds, and we can't get the interest rates to prop up the pension funds on just federal bonds.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So what you're saying is it's a catch-22 here.
It is. It's another feel-good idea that sounds great. It's very emotional. There's a lot of emotional stuff going on this session. I've been lobbying for the last 8 sessions since 2009, and this is number one. Legislators seem grumpier than usual. I don't know if you've seen this, Rick, but
that is an interesting observation.
I've been less grumpy.
Right.
I was grumpy last time.
And then this time you're not as grumpy.
I was like I was depressive, Mr. Pessimistic, and I took on a new approach this time. I'm just like,
well, you got a TV show now, so you had to take on a new approach.
Yeah, maybe. But before I was aware I was going to have a TV show, I had made the determination I'm not doing it that way again because I was miserable. I hated it, and it's sort of just like instead of feeling like I'm responsible to actually get all these things done, which is an unrealistic expectation. All I have is the control of my button, and those people who might be wondering what I'm thinking, that's the end of it, and I go on.
Let it go.
I'm happy, happy, joy, joy.
Yep.
But all right, so Dustin, in the last 15 to 30 seconds here, any comments on these or other bills on what we should be looking at?
Well, I think overall we need to tell our legislators that we cannot be creating long-term spending programs that prop up just one industry. We should be looking at long-term tax reductions that benefit everybody and benefit the state going forward. And if anybody wants more information, go to our website at watchingnd.com.
watchingnd.com.
Got it.
Very
Thank
well
you, Dustin.
said, Dustin. Very well said. Thanks for coming on. I'm glad that we beat Joel to the punch.
We will come back with brain food in just a moment.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
Watch No Filter with me, Debbie Schlussel, for no-nonsense, unfiltered analysis of the news that matters to you. You'll see engaging guests.
It began a 444-day nightmare.
Entertaining analysis, and it has everything to do with something that happened in history. And honest movie reviews. Trust me, this is just atrocious. No Filter with Debbie, weeknights at 10 p.m. Central on Beck News and online at beck.news.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you. It's No Apologies on Beck.
It's time for another brain food. And I'm just going to say this. I'm a little disappointed. We kind of made a call on the air for somebody to come up with an intro to our brain foods. And it is not happening. Nobody's got anything. So I don't know what the deal is with that. But we put it on Facebook.
You mean we're going to have to actually pay somebody
I think
to do
so.
it?
I think so. Nobody wants the bragging rights, apparently, of coming up with some sort of an intro.
We just need to go to the local colleges and high schools in their computer graphics classes.
Yep. 100%.
Help us out.
Somebody's
Brain
gotta be
food
able to
and
help us out.
mailbag we need. Brain food and mailbag.
Anyway, so the reason I bring that up is because this first word comes from your idea of what we could maybe do graphically for the beginning of brain food. And the word was homunculus. Let's take it. There it is, homunculus. And homunculus is a noun which basically means 3 little words, a little man. It means a little man or a mannequin, which is a cute name, but a miniature adult that in the theory of preformation has held to inhabit the germ cell and to produce a mature individual merely by an increase in size. So you were talking about something about the brain, but what I learned about this is that the first known little person interesting tidbit is it is a representation of a small human being. There's your homunculus.
Nice.
Popularized in 16th century alchemy, and 19th century fiction documentary. It has historically referred to the creation of a miniature fully formed human. The concept has roots in preformationism as well as earlier folklore, and it is associated with the artificial generation of humans. The homunculus first appears by name in the writings attributed to a guy named Paracelsus.
Oh.
Now, this guy has the guy has
he and I go.
He has the best name ever. This is the funniest thing I've ever read. I actually started laughing when I read this name. His full name, Paracelsus, is Philippus Aureolus Theophrastus Bombastus, not joking, Bombastus von Hohenheim, a philosopher of the German Renaissance. Bombastus von Hohenheim. I just could not stop laughing when I heard that.
Nice.
That's a great name. He outlined his method for creating homunculi, like plural. And basically, it's really weird. You just put sperm of a man in a sealed thing for 40 days to the highest degree of putrefaction in a horse's womb. I mean, it is weird stuff, man. It is weird. And after that time,
I get the cringy look you have for putrefaction of sperm, but it's funny because I'm looking at your face. When you say sperm, can you say it without wrinkling your nose?
I don't think so.
Okay, just curious.
Anyway, after that, it's fed wisely with arcanium of human blood and nourished for up to 40 weeks, kept in the even heat of the horse's womb. A living human child grows therefrom. Super weird stuff, man. Homunculus.
Hey, can you go back to the little guy picture? Let me tell you, folks, what I know of homunculus from medical school.
Okay.
Okay, you see his huge hands and his huge mouth and tongue?
Yes.
And his eyes are pretty big, and his lower extremities are quite low.
Tiny, yep.
The homunculus is based on how much of the cortex, meaning the part of your brain that is, does the work, how much of your brain is
engaged or
used, whatever, focused on that part of your body.
I see.
So the hands and the mouth and the head take up way more space on your brain than everything else. Okay. Next, mine. Ready? G.I. Joe. Kick it up there.
Okay.
G.I. Joe. There's G.I. Joe.
And that's a pigeon. Is that a homing pigeon?
Yeah, it's a carrier pigeon.
A carrier pigeon. Okay.
That's not the G.I. Joe I played with in 1969, but this one is stuffed apparently and sitting on a little thing. So G.I. Joe is an American carrier pigeon, right? In 1943, during World War II, he saved, he's credited with saving over 1,000 British troops.
Wow.
Yes, because the U.S. was going to bomb the crap out of Calvi-Vecchia. It's in Italy. Vecchia means old in Italiano. Okay, and but the thing is that the Brits had already captured that city. And the U.S. was planning to bomb it, and the Brits had no way, because they were surrounded by Germans, they had no way. And so they sent a carrier pigeon to the U.S., and within hours of sending the bombs to just decimate the city, the carrier pigeon arrived, and they didn't bomb the Brits in Calvi-Vecchia.
Very, very cool. Well, my next word is finagle, and this means To obtain something by indirect or involved means. It's a verb. It can be a transitive verb or an intransitive verb, which means to use devious or dishonest methods to achieve one's ends. That's how I usually view finagle. Some synonyms for finagle include contrive, engineer, finesse, machinate, maneuver, manipulate, mastermind, negotiate, or my favorite, personally, wangle.
Wangle.
Finagle.
Wang dang doodle. Wangle.
All right.
All right. Next up, I've got a cartoon for you. Ready? There you go.
Oh.
Now, unfortunately, this is maybe small on your screen. But what you have is the United States. That's Uncle Sam. You see his hat's on the road. He's really in a bit of a conundrum there. He's tied up, wrapped around in rope in a tree, on a palm tree of imperialism. Imperialism meaning that you as a nation are going out and conquering other nations and ruling them. Now the donkey you cannot read, but in the harness it says Philippines. So the United States has the Philippines in a rope and is trying to wrangle the Philippines, but the Philippines has the United States completely all wrapped up because it's a cantankerous animal. Now the gentleman you see going over the hill, and you can't tell, but he's got crutches and he's leaving. He's looking back, he's leaving. And basically, I think he's saying, good luck. That's Spain. Okay, so the Philippine-American War. Ready? We have how many minutes?
Yeah, we're already over.
Okay, here's the thing. The Philippine Independence Act, on this day today of 1934, the United States granted the Philippines independence. Now, this is a really interesting story. Now, sometimes I bring these things up. I'm not telling the whole story, but I'm offering possibility for you guys to look into it.
Right.
I think it's fascinating. The Philippines had been conquered by Spain. Spain was ruling them. The Philippines then, in 1892, there were some guerrillas, some revolutionaries. They're like, we're not had enough of this crap with Spain. We want to be independent. We want to be a free people. And they were fighting with the Spanish. The Americans came in and they're like, we're going to help you as part of the Spanish-American War. We kicked Spain's butt. And then we were like really good guys because we brought some of the revolutionary leaders back who were in exile, right?
To the Philippines.
And then we said, yeah, but you know what? You're not going to be so free. In which case, then the Filipinos said,
wait, what?
Excusez-moi. And then they started fighting against us. And so then there was the Philippine-American War because apparently it has been a long, long time that the Americans keep screwing up foreign affairs and getting in other nations. Anyway, after fighting and having a war with them, in which at least 200,000, up to 1 million civilians died in this war.
Wow.
That's atrocious.
That is atrocious.
And then we gave them their independence in 1934. Gosh, thanks, America.
Wow. Great story. Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
that. Brain food. All right, when we come back, we're going to do a quick segment on Dems say the darndest things.
Those darn Dems. Get out of here.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Big shout out to North Dakota and Beck News, where you can watch the Dr. Duke Show each weekday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time.
North Dakota is one of the last bastions of sanity in our republic. The legislature consistently passes pro-life and family legislation. This session, North Dakota legislature is trying to thwart efforts to allow boys to say they are girls and play on girls' sports teams. Go North Dakota.
And thanks for carrying the Dr. Duke Show on Beck TV.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Arrow Service Team does it all.
Every great pizza has a secret. At New York To Go, that secret lies in our perfectly recreated New York water, the key ingredient to making our signature New York-style pizza. We also feature gyros, with the region's only gyro meat spit, plus Nathan's hot dogs, calzones, and our delicious jumbo buffalo wings. Try a 14-inch or our special giant 20-inch pizza tonight. You gotta know how to fold them if you want to hold them. New York To Go, we deliver for you.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Like that? Little Sonny and Cher. It's No Apologies, and it's segment 5. Thanks for hanging with us.
Oh, I just got to do like this.
I'm your host, Sonny, and your co-host, Cher.
Cher. Okay, all right. So what we're doing with this segment is we're giving you some audio clips, and we're going to get right into it, too. The first one, you may have heard about this one, but you may not have seen it. Now, the off chance you haven't seen it, let's just take a look at what President Biden said. President Biden had to say.
Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona.
Yeah. Now, that is not the first time that whole President Harris thing has come up. It's come up a number of times previously, too. He has made gaffes before. Harris, too, once accidentally called herself commander-in-chief. So it's like, apparently there's a theme here. Now, I realize it's difficult for him cognitively, but okay.
Yeah,
all right.
On that one, I really do. I mean, to me, that does.
Seems like just a verbal gaffe. Or do you think he was
I think it's a mental thing, because maybe I'm looking at it from a medical perspective.
Okay.
He's pausing, he's slowing down, because in his mind he's recognizing something I said wasn't right, and then continues on. And as always, I keep feeling bad for this guy.
I do too.
But okay.
Now the second one, this woman, honestly, I have a very difficult time saying nice things, because I just feel like, truthfully, she just always seems inebriated to me. This is Nancy Pelosi. Hear what she has to say, interestingly, about the border.
So to the extent that we can help solve some of the problems at home, and instead of canceling that investment, which the Trump administration canceled the investment that we had to do just that, I wish you could see the impact of what USAID can do to help children in those countries. So that is to back up again and say that Biden administration has this under control. It will take, it is change, and it'll take some time, but it is values-based, humanitarian in its aspects, pragmatic in with a plan to get things done, and not just a diversionary tactic on the part of the Republicans, because they are bankrupt of ideas on how to improve the lives of the American people. They run to the border.
I just found that absolutely hilarious.
What the hell did she just say?
I know, right? First of all, she says Biden's got the border issue under control, which should make you laugh, like it makes me laugh. And then she says, he's handling things in a humanitarian way. And I'm like, what planet is this woman on? That was just the craziest.
Yeah, he's got him under control.
Wow.
Last month, there were 9 kids, nine unaccompanied minors. Now there's over 13,000. But we've got it under control.
Oh, no, it's all totally under control.
Now, on the other hand, did you see the picture of Nancy with President JFK?
No.
She is cute.
Oh.
Yes, she is.
All right, we've got one last one.
I
We'll
need
see
a
if we can
time
sneak it in.
machine,
I don't know if
Nancy.
we're going to be able to get all of it in, but this is amazing. This is coming from Biden himself. This is from about a year ago when there was a Democratic debate. Let's take a look.
Biden, as a presidential candidate in 2008, you supported the border wall, saying unlike most Democrats, I voted for 700 miles of fence. This is what you said. Then you served as vice president in an administration that deported 3 million people, the most ever in U.S. history. Did you do anything to prevent those deportations? I mean, you've been asked this question before and refused to answer, so let me try it once again. Are you prepared to say tonight that you and President Obama made a mistake about deportations? Why should Latinos trust you?
What Latinos should look at is comparing this president to the president we have is outrageous, number one. We didn't lock people up in cages. We didn't separate families. We didn't do all of those things, number one. Number two, by the time this is the president who came along with the DACA program. No one had ever done that before. This is the president who sent legislation to the desk saying he wants to find a pathway for the 11 million undocumented in the United States of America. This is the president who's done a great deal. So I'm proud to have served with him. What I would do as president is several more things, because things have changed. I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum.
I know, right?
Surge the border, baby.
Surge the border. Right? I mean, out of his own mouth. I just thought that was really, really interesting.
We need how many? 13,000 kids in cages? Not enough, baby. Surge the border. Surge it.
I just thought that was just so amazing. All right. Join us again next time. Tomorrow we will be talking to Margot Knorr, and she will talk about Charlie Kirk, who is coming to Bismarck. Kind of excited about that, and some other topics as well. So join us then. We'll see you soon.
Next on Beck, No Filter with Debbie. Hang with her.